Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Social Media Marketing and Networking for Healthcare Professionals online conference. It's our first annual here at SoMeDocs. Thank you so much to those who are planning to join us live at all the lectures or at their favorite lectures, and also to those who have purchased VIP tickets to watch this after the fact, after it's recorded. And of course, thank you to all of our network level members who get to watch this conference as part of their membership. My name is Dr. Donna Coriel. I'm an internist and serial entrepreneur who founded SoMeDocs and built it and nurtures it and loves it, and everybody that is involved in it. So thank you so much for being here. I am the person who actually, if we're being honest, has now spent more hours staring at LinkedIn, given the LinkedIn lecture that I'm going to give later in tonight's lineup, than I ever spent staring into a microscope in medical school. And frankly, I regret nothing. No, I'm just kidding. I actually spent more time staring at a microscope in medical school because that does take many, many, many hours out of our lifespans. So I want to officially welcome you here. It's going to be a really great 4 days filled with content. And whether you're here to grow your digital brand, learn how to market ethically without feeling like you're selling miracle berries, or finally understand what the algorithm actually wants from you, you've come to the right place. So, first of all, a huge thank you to those of you that are going to spend live evenings with us. I know how valuable that time is for clinicians like myself and healthcare leaders and such. So, we do appreciate that. This is prime time for catching up on charting and spending time with loved ones and reheating dinner for the third time. So we really do appreciate it. So the fact that you're here, it tells me that you are serious about growing your presence and your business and your voice. So that matters in this day and age. And that's exactly what these next 4 days are going to be designed to help you do. Now, before I set the stage up for tonight, I want to acknowledge something that's important. Healthcare professionals are not usually taught how to market ourselves. Most of us were trained to be humble, quiet, unbranded, and faceless, may I add, parts of a system. And meanwhile, those systems have absolutely no trouble marketing themselves, and often at our expense, which is why I really am hoping that we're going to change things. Because in today's age and beyond, if you want to be heard and trusted and chosen, and not so by an administrator, but by our audience, by our patients, by our peers, then online presence matters. And your storyline matters and your brand matters. And yes, I know, don't worry, the name brand, that word brand, it makes some of us feel uncomfortable. And let me just clarify that your brand is not a logo, and your brand is not a font, and your brand is not you pointing dramatically into the camera and having inspirational music behind you, although I do support dramatic pointing if that's your artistic truth. Your brand is your voice. Your brand is your values, your expertise. It's the experience people consistently have when they encounter you online. So, over the next 4 days, you're going to learn exactly how to use that voice strategically, ethically, and effectively without feeling like you accidentally signed up for an MLM. So, a little bit about tone setting. We're going to bring you what's actually here, and that's not the algorithms, it's not the buzzwords, and it's not the promise of going viral. It's that healthcare needs your voice more than ever because the people that are actually filling public spaces online are not necessarily the ones with the training and the expertise or even basic accuracy. We need more physicians, we need more nurses and therapists and pharmacists and healthcare professionals in general leading those conversations. And so that's why we are gathered here. We need you not just in clinic, but we need you in feeds because in this day and age, and right now it's 2025, maybe you're watching this in 2026, a post can spread health literacy faster than a pamphlet ever will, right? A reel can calm anxiety better than any 12-page educational handout. And a story can build trust with someone before they even step foot in that office. So that's what we're here to do together. So tonight sets the stage for everything that follows. We're starting at 7 Eastern Standard. That's just in just over 20 minutes with Dr. Omar Kokar, who's going to be teaching Beyond the Exam Room, leveraging social media, networking, and healthcare. Dr. Kokar has the kind of charisma that makes you think, if this whole GI career thing ever falls apart, he could host a late night show. But honestly, he really doesn't need to because he's busy doing something much more important, at least tonight, and that's teaching us how to use our voices to build real influence. Following that at 8 p.m., we're going to be talking about the LinkedIn prescription, growing an audience of over 20,000 followers. And no, that prescription does not include melatonin, methylprednisolone, or coffee, although coffee is strongly implied. Instead, I am going to be the speaker there. I'm going to talk to you about the strategies, the pattern, some of the psych behind building a loyal audience on a platform that was once just a place for resumes and humble brags. They are still there, actually. But LinkedIn is powerful, and I'm going to show you how to make it work for you. Now, the next 3 days, we're going to talk. Here's a little brief tease. We're going to talk on Wednesday about likes don't pay the bills. That's by Dr. Rad Mariala. And the spoiler for that lecture is that he's right. Likes will not pay the bills unless your landlord accepts engagements as currency, which sadly ours doesn't. No, I'm just kidding. My husband's the landlord. No, I'm just kidding. We both own the place. Sorry, that's me trying to kind of play around with stand up. It's clearly not working, and especially not in a Zoom. Dr. Jennifer Rollins is going to talk about YouTube and patient acquisition afterwards, and talk about, sorry, then I will jump in again with an Instagram engagement session. We're going to have mini talks on Wednesday. Those are less formal and shorter talks. I'm going to be talking about Instagram engagement and how to increase that. And then Dr. Elon Shapiro is going to speak about the importance of sharing, which is something that we all learned in kindergarten, and then probably promptly forgot when we joined healthcare. On Thursday, we've got more in storytelling, podcasting, and networking. Spencer Lalk is going to show us how to build a storytelling machine that doesn't burn us out. Ashley Mack is going to demystify how to start a medical expert podcast. And then we're going to end with a networking hour, end that day. That's my favorite part of these online conferences. So I hope that you take it seriously and you do join. And it is a real networking hour because I make this experience just like an in-person conference. And one of my favorite parts of in-person conferences is the networking. So I promise it's going to be far more enjoyable than, hopefully far more enjoyable than in-person networking, where you're usually clutching a plastic cup, a flimsy plastic cup, and wondering whether you've made eye contact long enough with a person across from you. It's just easier on Zoom. And finally, on Friday, we're going to wrap up with lead magnets and networking basics from Lori Werner and Dr. Gretchen Rickards, two people who understand the art and psychology of attracting and retaining your ideal audience. So I'm going to quickly just give a word about why this conference matters and is important before I go through the logistics of how this is going to work. So I want to talk about sort of the bigger picture and the bigger purpose of this event, because it really is deeper than marketing and metrics and content. It is about professional autonomy. I did a podcast earlier today with Helio about it, and I was asked what autonomy means today, and autonomy is at the center of what has been built through SoMeDocs. It's about reclaiming our narratives and about taking back the mic. Healthcare professionals have some of the most valuable, trustworthy voices on earth, but we have been trained to stay quiet and be modest and never call attention to ourselves. And meanwhile, misinformation has zero such inhibitions. So if you have ever thought, I want to speak up, but I don't know how, I want to build something, but I've been afraid to start. I want to grow online, but it feels overwhelming. Or I want a bigger impact, but I don't have a strategy. Then you are in the right place. And these next 4 days are hopefully going to be your momentum. So thank you truly for showing up. Thank you for being willing to learn something new with us and for investing in your voice and your story and your reach. Welcome to SoMeDocs, the 4-day conference. Now, I am going to be sharing my screen in order to show you exactly how everything works. And those of you that have taken this conference with us already know, because it's relatively similar from one time to the next, although we do vary things up a bit as we evolve and get a bit more popular and get your feedback and incorporate that feedback. So please give feedback at any point. So this is the Zoom session. This is the session where you are going to be learning from the lecturers. This is the same link that's going to be available for every single lecture. And that link is not going to change. It's going to be the same link throughout our conference. Um, so that you guys already have for those of you that are live because you're here. And if you're watching this at home, you don't need the Zoom link. You just need to know where to go to grab all of the lectures. Now, the lectures happen in real time live, but we record them so that they're available after the fact. But you can only access that if you hold a VIP ticket or you're a network level member. If you're a network level member, you get it for a month access to all the lectures. And if you're a VIP ticket holder, you get it for 6 months. If you've purchased a live ticket and you're here and you want to upgrade, just let me know. The prices did go up, but I'm happy to give you that pre-conference price if you are still getting it on that first day. All right. Let me share my screen so that I can take you through how everything works. So this right here is our website. I'm sorry that there's so many screens open. Let me just do that. All right. I'm going to take you to the website. This is the website, of course, we're the Healthcare Omnimedia platform. We've changed some things around as of late, as we usually do every, I don't know, once a year, twice a year, just to make sure that that user experience makes sense. This is something that, of course, is important on social media and in the digital space where everybody should have a website. We can talk about that separately. And you can hover over the learn section and coming up, it's that first option right there in order to access this particular conference. When the conference is over, it will no longer be coming up, but it will be on demand. So you'll be able to get it in the on demand space. I'm going to actually show you how to do that really quickly. You'll go on demand and then you'll look for event type and you will click in the evergreen course section and you can find it there, or you can type in social media. It won't come up right now because it hasn't happened yet, so it's not on demand, but you can type social media, etc. And one second, let me just blow my nose. I actually just got over a cold. One second. Okay. Excuse me for that. Okay. Now going back, this is the coming up section. This is where you will find the conference now before we are completely done with the lives. And you see that it's the first one here, but if you needed to, there's filters on the side and you can just go to live online conference and it would filter out all of the postings that are not live online conferences. And there's ours right here. Of course, you can look ahead at the others that are coming up and definitely join us because there are amazing events and lectures coming then. So this is our conference, and when I open it, you can see that we have a really amazing landing page. You could take a listen to the promo on the landing page. You could click down and see all of the tickets that we're selling. And of course, our fabulous lineup, all of the speakers that are going to be speaking. These are the formal speakers. They each have 1 hour, 1 hour's time over Zoom to teach us. And there's usually a 15-minute session at the end where you can ask questions as long as that speaker ends at the 45 or so minute mark. Uh, I invite everybody to use your, let me just stop sharing for a second. I invite everybody to use the chat. Okay, so this is meant to be just like an in-person conference, but it's not. It's still a Zoom. And so we try to use the really beneficial things of having it be virtual and then replicate the things that are missing from a virtual space. So the nice thing about being able to chat while somebody is lecturing is that nobody can hear you chat. So feel free to use the chat function when you're here live to just write things. Maybe, ask a question to the audience or ask a question to the lecturer that I can read at the end, or just react to what the speaker is saying. We specifically ask the speakers not to have the chat on so it's not distracting. And if you're an attendee as well and you get distracted by chats, just click that chat function in the Zoom setting and it will turn off that chat. So that's a really nice way to not be overwhelmed if that sort of distracts you. Okay, so that's about the Zoom. I'm going to continue sharing. If you want to learn more about each lecture or each lecturer, you can open up their talk. This just happens to be mine that I'm giving later today. You can scroll down, you can take a listen to their promo. You can read more details about the talk itself. What are you going to be learning? What are the learning objectives? Who is the target audience? And you can also check out who the speaker is. You can read more about them because each of them, most of them here, and soon to be each of them, because every one of our conferences requires that our speakers also have a profile in our directories. But you can click into their directories and find out a lot more about the speaker. So you can find out, more about them, where they practice, some of their other lectures, maybe they've written a book, maybe articles, et cetera, et cetera. But that is a really nice way to learn more about the lecturer, and you can send them an inquiry. And we really encourage you to do that because, first of all, you may have questions. Secondly, you may want to compliment them afterwards. You may just want to say, hey, I really loved that LinkedIn lecture that you gave the other night, and it lands right in their inbox. So that's a really nice way of connecting. And it's also a really great way of using our directories, which doesn't really exist elsewhere, right? You can send someone a message on LinkedIn only if you're connected with them, but not if you're not connected, and you have to pay LinkedIn for that. And in our venture, you don't. So that's the really nice part. Okay, back to this page, going down, there's the mini talks. Here's the schedule. So the agenda is written out. You can see who's speaking when and on what topic. It's all written out there. There's that networking hour that I highly recommend that everybody come to. And scrolling down, this is just a little of something that we tried experimentally with SoMeDocs, and this is probably going to be the last conference where we do it, but it just gives coaches and consultants an ability to help lead. This is the hashtag SoMeDocs marketing, just in case you are posting online. And we do encourage you all to post online and let everybody know about it, because the more people that learn about SoMeDocs, the more that we have as a community to build together. This is a collective effort, SoMeDocs. And the really nice part is that last week we newly made our profile memberships free with invitation or application. And so that's a new perk, and there's already a line filling up. So definitely let everybody know that you are a part of this conference. And some of our older lectures are here as well. So I am now going to shift over to explain the interactive space, and that's on Facebook. So the interactive space is exactly as it sounds. It's the space where we can get together and um, passive, or not really passively, but through social media, interact about what's happening in the conference itself. For this particular conference, we're choosing our Doc Side Ventures Facebook group. It will have a new name this month. It's just that Facebook doesn't allow us to change the name until later this month, and that's why it's still Doc Side Ventures. It will be called Med Side Ventures, and it's important for me to state this because we are moving forward on a new side venture branch of SoMeDocs and actually even a new website for side ventures. So that's coming. And the reason we're calling it Med Side Ventures is because we actually are going to be welcoming in all healthcare professionals and not just doctors. So I'm going to just quickly show you that the three main groups that SoMeDocs hosts are the following. It's the Med Side Ventures, where we're hosting the interactive space for this conference. There's SoMeDocs, which is just for doctors. And then there's SoMeDocs Healthcare, which is open to anyone in public. So that includes doctors, nurses, pharmacists, but also members of the media, podcasters, patients, etc. And each space is unique because we talk about different things and with the different audience that's included. So for this particular lecture, we're in Med Side Ventures. Again, it looks like Doc Side Ventures for now, but it's going to be changing to Med Side Ventures. When you come here, there's a discussion option in the Facebook menu. That's where all of the posts are, really fun posts where everybody is interacting. There is a features tab in the menu, which is where I am going to pin the important posts. So for the duration of these next 4 days, it's important. I already see that I wrote December 2nd and the 4th instead of the 5th. But this is where there's going to be all the important things that you'll need. So, for example, I pinned the agenda, the schedule, so that you know it's there. You don't have to search through the group. It's right there. Okay. You're not going to find the Zoom link here. You're going to find that in your email because not everybody that's a part of this group has purchased a ticket to come to this conference. The other thing that you can use are, so to the right of this menu, there's three buttons right here. When you click it, you can pin the group to the top of the main Facebook page. So you can definitely pin it at least for the next 4 days, hopefully for longer. And then you can also manage notifications where you want to click off all posts because you want to make sure that you're going to get all the posts in your notifications. Now, you're still not going to necessarily get all of them because it's Facebook, and this is literally what happens in Facebook. So for that reason, I ask that all of you come in and manually check the group several times a day during these next 4 days, especially. When we're done with the next 4 days, it's up to you. I hope that we will have stimulating conversations, stimulating enough for you to still want to be a part of the discussions, but at the least for the next 4 days. Now, I'm also inviting you to introduce yourself in here. Please write who you are. That's part of the conferences. The only thing we ask for you to follow in terms of rules is no links in the body of your posts, no like promotional links, but you can certainly put them in the comment sections. So that's it. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to look in the chat to see if anybody has any questions. It doesn't look like anybody has any questions, but if you do, this is the perfect time to ask. We are 2 minutes away from the first official lecture of our conference. I'm really excited. And with that, I'm going to end the intro, but I hope everybody enjoys what I've curated here as the chair of this conference. I hope that you check out the other conferences that we already hosted that are now evergreen courses and are still accessible. And I hope that you do join us for the future conferences that we're putting together with all the incredible lineup of faculty. We work really hard to make everything more accessible and affordable so that we have easier information exchange. So again, thank you.